Have you ever asked yourself the question, just how far will God go? I don't ever remember asking the question, but I'll never forget the day that He answered that question for me. I had a great job at one of the largest grocery store chains in the continental United States. It's probably one of the top 20 biggest stores in the U.S. And one day they just walked in and they laid off 3 of the managers, and I just happened to be one of them. Didn't understand it, but I knew I had a great resume, so getting a job would not be a problem. It seemed like I went interview after interview after interview, all the way to get to the point of where you would accept the job and then they would just cancel and not give you the job, and suddenly they didn't have the job. And I ended up taking a job at the Jones store, making less than what I did when I was part-time in college. And I became very bitter, very angry about the situation. And one day, one of my friends pulled me aside and said, "Did you ever ask God why He put you in the men's shoe department in the Jones store?" I thought, no. So maybe you should ask Him. Maybe you won't be there as long. So when I got to work the next day, I did. And I'd like to say I did it with the right attitude, but I don't remember being the right attitude. I just remember saying, "Lord, why in the world you got me stuck here at the Jones store?" But He looked beyond my attitude. He taught me a very valuable lesson that day. I walked in. I'd been working there for a couple months. I walked in to the department there. There was a young lady sitting there that I had worked with multiple times, and I could tell something was bothering her. So I began to ask her, "How's your day? What's going on?" You know, she gave me the standard answers, but something didn't just feel right. And finally I said, "No, what's really going on?" She said, "Well, if you want to really know the truth, this morning I pulled out my 45 and I loaded it and I laid it on the counter in the kitchen, and I told God, if you don't show me why I should stick with this thing called life, when I get home today, I'm going to put that gun in my mouth and I'm going to pull the trigger." She said, I gave him 24 hours. I began to talk to her about the cross and a Savior that loved her. As I began to talk to her, I began to watch the presence of the Lord move upon her as tears began to move down her face. And as I began to talk to her about the grace of God, and I began to pray with her in the Jones store, I began to see just how far God will go to make sure that there's someone standing in the way when life looks like it's hopeless. I'll never forget, I lost my job that day because I wouldn't stop praying with her. Tears flowing down her face. I went home. I realized God was not concerned with my finances as much as He was concerned about her. He knew she would be there before any of us, even before she knew when she was going to face this situation. Yet God was willing to move me out of my comfort zone. You know, I never missed a meal. My electricity never got shut off. God always provided. Maybe today you're working on a job and it's a dead-end job. When was the last time you asked God, why am I here? It might surprise you. The answer might be sitting closer to you right now than you realize. I challenge you today to ask God, why am I where I'm at? Why do I live where I live? Why do I shop in this Walmart? Why did you let me catch every traffic light today, God? Whose life are you trying to impact? I hope this challenges you today to realize that God's not worried about the monetary things. God's in the soul-saving business. It's not His desire that any should perish, but that all should come and experience everlasting life. And you might be the only thing standing between them and a 24-hour notice on God. I challenge you today to ask the question, why am I here, God? I think you'll be surprised when He shows you.